Young and the Restless spoilers. Jeremy and Phyllis married. Genoa City gasps on YandR. YandR spoilers this week confirm Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, throws a tantrum in front of all of Genoa City at the 50th anniversary gala. Everyone thinks she's drunk because she's disheveled and shrieking at Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters, and Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman. Meanwhile, on Young and the Restless, Jeremy Stark, James Hyde, slinks into the back of the room at the GCAC, with his mask hiding his face. This is the next part of their wicked plan. After screaming at everyone and telling them Diane is dangerous, she collapses. Then there's shouts for a doctor and Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic, and Elena Dawson, Brittany Sarpy, come running. And they call the EMTs. However, Phyllis doesn't wake up. They load her onto a stretcher. And then Diane notices her engagement ring in Phyllis's hand. She snatches it and the EMT sees. Then she shows it to Jack, who's certain Jeremy was the one who bumped him and stole it. So, that ring will become important in what happens next with Phyllis and her co-conspirator Jeremy. Then, Jeremy Stark comes forward wailing and reveals they're married on YandR. YandR spoilers. Jeremy Stark married Phyllis. Genoa City gasps. Young and the Restless spoilers say Jeremy makes a scene, bending down to whisper sweet nothings to unconscious Phyllis. He calls her my love, and carries on ranting about how she needs protection. And then the felon tells everyone they married. No one believes him on the CBS soap opera. But then Jeremy says they wed 3 days ago. The gathered people rant that she wouldn't have married him without telling her friends and family. And then Stark rants more about how Phyllis had none of those left. Next, Jeremy hurls insults at Diane. And of course, Red told everyone before her collapse that Diane attacked her earlier. Remember, Jack walked in on Diane choking Phyllis, along with Summer Newman, Allison Lanier, and Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, on YandR. Now, on Young and the Restless, Jack's defending his fiancée, despite what he saw her do to Phyllis Summers. But you can bet the plot she cooked up with Jeremy Stark is designed to set up her rival for a murder rap. That way, Ms. Jenkins will wind up in prison. Jeremy mourns new wife? Young and Restless leak shows Red is dead. You can see in the YandR spoiler video above a leaked YandR scene that confirms Phyllis Summers' death and funeral. Michelle Stafford panned her phone while recording a cameo video for a fan. And she accidentally showed a scene of her character's memorial service. Given the way Phyllis collapses on the next episode of Young and the Restless, it looks like a poison scheme. This wouldn't be the first time there's been a setup with poison involving Red on YandR. Remember Kelly Andrews, Katie McLean, and the poisoning setup against Phyllis? The CBS soap opera may be recycling storylines. We're also betting that Jeremy married her, so that he can be the one to press charges against Diane. So, Jeremy Stark can play the grieving husband seeking justice on the woman who murdered his new wife. But it's clear that Phyllis Summers is not leaving Young and the Restless. She'll come out of the woodwork, but only after her rival is charged or jailed. We'll have to wait and see, but her plot with Jeremy Stark kicks into high gear is officially reeling, and no one saw this shockwave coming. Just when fans thought Phyllis Summers had exhausted every possible way to blow up her life, and everyone else's, the Young and the Restless drops a bombshell that leaves jaws on the floor. Phyllis and Jeremy Stark are married. Yes, married. The question isn't just how it happened. It's why, what comes next, and who's about to pay the price. Because if there's one thing YandR history has taught us, it's this. When Phyllis Summers makes a move, this drastic chaos follows. A wedding no one saw coming. The revelation comes out of nowhere, classic YandR style. 1 minute, Genoa City residents are whispering about business feuds and old grudges, and the next, a legal document surfaces that confirms the unthinkable. Phyllis Summers is legally tied to one of the most dangerous men to ever slither through town. Jeremy Stark isn't just a bad boy. He's a walking red flag with a criminal resume, a man who thrives on manipulation, intimidation, and revenge. The idea that Phyllis would bind herself to him sends shockwaves through the Abbott Mansion, the Newman Ranch, and beyond. And yet, the more people talk, the more one unsettling truth becomes clear. This wasn't an accident. Phyllis Summers, desperation or strategy. Phyllis has never been predictable. But this move? It screams either total desperation or next-level scheming. Insiders whisper that the marriage may have happened quietly, away from Genoa City, possibly during one of Phyllis's recent disappearances from the social scene. No lavish ceremony. No witnesses from town. Just paperwork and consequences. Some believe Phyllis married Jeremy to protect herself, securing legal leverage or financial safety she couldn't get any other way. Others think she's playing a longer game, using Jeremy as a weapon against enemies who underestimated her. But here's the chilling possibility no one wants to say out loud. Backhand index pointing right. What if Phyllis actually thinks she's in control? That's when things get dangerous. Jack Abbott's horror and regret. If there's one person hit hardest by the news, it's Jack Abbott. Jack has always been Phyllis's emotional safety net, sometimes to his own detriment. Learning that the woman he once loved, trusted, and defended is now married to Jeremy Stark leaves him shaken to the core. Sources suggest Jack immediately questions himself. Did I push her too far away? Did I fail to protect her? Or is Phyllis finally beyond saving? Jack's concern isn't romantic anymore, it's survival-level fear. He knows Jeremy's past. He knows how dangerous he can be. And the thought of Phyllis being legally bound to that man sends Jack into crisis mode. Expect Jack to mobilize, quietly pulling strings and calling in favors to find out exactly what Jeremy is planning, and whether Phyllis is already in over her head. Summer Newman smells trouble. Summer is not fooled. Not for 1 second. While others are still processing the shock, Summer immediately senses something darker brewing. She knows her mother better than anyone, and if Phyllis married Jeremy, there's an angle. Summer begins digging, asking questions no one else wants to ask. And what she uncovers may be far more disturbing than the marriage itself. There are hints of hidden clauses, shared assets, and legal traps that could put Phyllis, and anyone connected to her, at serious risk. The mother-daughter dynamic shifts fast. Summer isn't just worried anymore. She's preparing for damage control. Diane Jenkins can't hide her reaction. Meanwhile, Diane Jenkins struggles to keep her composure. On the surface, Diane offers polite concern. But beneath that calm exterior, there's alarm, and maybe even fear. Jeremy Stark has history, and Diane knows firsthand how dangerous alliances can become. The marriage instantly puts Diane back on edge. Old trauma resurfaces. Old secrets threaten to crawl back into the light. And if Jeremy is back in Phyllis's orbit permanently, Diane knows one thing for sure. Backhand index pointing right, no one is safe from the fallout. Victor Newman starts asking questions. You know it's serious when Victor Newman takes notice. Victor doesn't panic, but he calculates. And Jeremy Stark being legally tied to Phyllis Summers sets off every internal alarm bell the Black Knight has. Victor quietly orders background checks, financial reviews, and surveillance. He wants to know, what does Jeremy gain from this marriage? What leverage does he now hold? And how could this affect Newman Enterprises? If Victor decides Jeremy is a threat, it won't be long before the war begins. And Phyllis may find herself caught between two powerful forces. Is Phyllis trapped, or the architect of disaster? The most haunting question remains unanswered. Is Phyllis a victim, or the mastermind? Some clues suggest she may already regret the decision. There are signs of tension, whispered arguments, and moments where Phyllis appears visibly shaken. Jeremy, ever the predator, seems far too calm, far too confident. But then again, this is Phyllis Summers. What if she married Jeremy knowing exactly how dangerous he is, because she plans to destroy him from the inside? If that's the case, the risk is enormous. One misstep could cost her everything. Its fair share of jaw-dropping weddings, secret alliances, and revenge-fueled romances. But nothing could have prepared its residents for this. In a twist no one saw coming, Jeremy Stark is now legally married to Phyllis Summers, and the fallout is seismic. Shockwaves ripple through the Abbott Mansion, Newman Enterprises, and every corner of town as one burning question dominates every whispered conversation. How, and why, did Phyllis marry her most dangerous enemy? A wedding no one attended, but everyone feels. The reveal comes not with a lavish ceremony or champagne toast, but with a single, devastating legal document. When Michael Baldwin confirms the marriage certificate's authenticity, the room goes silent. Phyllis Summers, fiery, unpredictable, and famously loyal only to herself, is officially Mrs. Jeremy Stark. No vows witnessed. No family present. Just 2 signatures, and a ticking time bomb. Sources say the marriage happened quietly, far from Genoa City, under circumstances that are anything but romantic. This wasn't about love. It was about power, survival, and control. Phyllis's shocking motivation. Trapped or playing the long game. Let's be real, Phyllis doesn't make moves without a reason. And marrying Jeremy Stark, a man who once terrorized her and Diane Jenkins alike, is not something she'd do lightly. Insiders suggest Phyllis may have been backed into a corner. Jeremy, with his endless resources and criminal connections, allegedly offered her a chilling ultimatum. Marry him or lose everything, her freedom, her family, maybe even her life. But here's the twist that has fans buzzing. What if Phyllis wasn't coerced at all? What if she saw an opportunity? Marrying Jeremy gives Phyllis access to his money, his secrets, his weaknesses. And if anyone in Genoa City knows how to dismantle a powerful man from the inside, it's Phyllis Summers. Jack Abbott's fury explodes. No one takes the news harder than Jack Abbott. The man who once loved Phyllis deeply, who defended her even when no one else would, is blindsided and furious. Witnesses say Jack's shock quickly turns to rage as he demands answers Phyllis refuses to give. To Jack, this marriage isn't just dangerous, it's a betrayal. He believes Jeremy is using Phyllis as a shield, a legal loophole to keep enemies at bay. And the idea that Phyllis may be willingly standing beside a man who has caused so much destruction? That cuts deeper than any business betrayal ever could. Jack's protective instincts kick into overdrive, and that may put him directly in Jeremy Stark's crosshairs. Diane Jenkins, vindicated and terrified. Meanwhile, Diane Jenkins has a reaction no one expects. At first, there's relief. Phyllis marrying Jeremy confirms what Diane has suspected all along, that Jeremy's obsession with Genoa City wasn't just about revenge. It was personal, but that relief quickly turns to fear. If Phyllis is now legally bound to Jeremy, Diane knows one thing for certain. This war is far from over. Jeremy may have achieved a symbolic victory, but his endgame is still unclear, and Diane worries she's next. The uneasy truce between Phyllis and Diane? Officially obliterated. Newman alarm bells ring loud. Over at Newman Enterprises, Victor Newman doesn't waste time. Victor recognizes the marriage for what it truly is, a strategic move. Jeremy Stark isn't a romantic, he's a predator. And predators don't marry without calculating the payoff. Victor quietly orders his people to dig financial records, offshore accounts, shell companies. Because if Phyllis is now tied to Jeremy's empire, that empire just became a threat to Genoa City's power structure. And Victor Newman does not tolerate threats. Summer and Daniel demand the truth. Phyllis's children are devastated. Summer is furious, feeling once again that her mother has chosen chaos over family. She demands to know whether Phyllis married Jeremy for protection or for revenge. Phyllis, unusually guarded, offers no clear answers. Daniel, on the other hand, is terrified. He knows his mother's patterns, and this move screams desperation. He fears Phyllis has stepped into something she can't escape. And they might be right, because marriage to Jeremy Stark doesn't come with a prenup. It comes with strings, secrets, and consequences. Jeremy's chilling victory lap. As for Jeremy, he's enjoying every second. Sources say Jeremy is smug, calm, and dangerously confident. He refers to Phyllis as his partner, a word that sends shivers through Genoa City. Whether he truly believes she's loyal or simply enjoys watching her enemies squirm is anyone's guess. But one thing is certain, Jeremy Stark believes he's won. And that confidence may be his biggest mistake. The ultimate question: who will betray whom first? This marriage sets the stage for a psychological war unlike anything Genoa City has seen. Is Phyllis secretly gathering evidence to destroy Jeremy from within? Or has she crossed a line she can't come back from? Will Jack risk everything to save her, even if she doesn't want saving? Will Diane become collateral damage? And how long before Jeremy realizes that marrying Phyllis Summers may be the most dangerous move ripping through Genoa City? And if this latest Young and the Restless leak proves true, Jeremy Stark's twisted saga is about to take a devastating and deeply suspicious turn. One word has fans buzzing, panicking, and wildly speculating across social media: dead. Yes, according to leaked storyline chatter, Red, Jeremy's newly revealed wife, may be dead and Jeremy may be grieving or pretending to. Either way, this bombshell threatens to blow open secrets that could finally expose the real monster behind the charming criminal facade. But in true YandR fashion, nothing is ever that simple. A marriage no one saw coming. When Red was first mentioned as Jeremy Stark's wife, fans were floored. Jeremy, the manipulative con man who terrorized Diane Jenkins and held Genoa City hostage with his psychological games. Having a wife felt almost impossible. The man thrives on control, obsession, and revenge. Love, commitment, domestic bliss? Not exactly his brand. And yet, Red entered the narrative as a shadowy figure from Jeremy's past. Someone who allegedly knew him before the schemes, before the crimes, before Genoa City. That alone made her dangerous. A woman who knows who Jeremy really is could destroy him, or enable him in ways far more terrifying. Now, if this leak is accurate, Red is suddenly gone. Declared dead. Removed from the board. Which immediately raises the biggest question of all. Is Red actually dead? Or just conveniently dead? Soap fans know the rule: no body, no death. And even when there is a body, that doesn't always mean the story is over. Jeremy Stark is not the kind of man who loses control easily. If Red truly died, what were the circumstances? An accident? Illness? Something darker? Or, and this theory is already catching fire, did Jeremy orchestrate her death himself? Jeremy has always treated people like chess pieces. He discards them when they stop serving his purpose. If Red knew too much, threatened to talk, or refused to go along with his next plan, eliminating her, at least on paper, would be classic Jeremy. And yet, the leak suggests something even stranger. Jeremy mourns, and that changes everything. Sources hint that Jeremy may actually be mourning Red, presenting himself as a grieving husband rather than a cold-blooded villain. That emotional shift alone is raising eyebrows. This is the man who showed zero remorse when he terrorized Diane, manipulated Phyllis, and nearly destroyed Jack's family. So why now? Some fans believe this grief could be genuine, proof that Red wasn't just another pawn, but someone Jeremy truly loved. If that's the case, Young and the Restless may be peeling back layers we've never seen before, revealing a man shaped by loss rather than pure malice. But others aren't buying it. Many viewers suspect Jeremy's mourning is an act, a calculated performance designed to lower defenses, gain sympathy, and quietly set up his next move. Grief can be a powerful disguise, and Jeremy knows exactly how to weaponize emotion. What Red's death means for Genoa City. If Red is truly dead, her absence could still wreak havoc across Genoa City. Why? Because she represents unfinished business. Red ties Jeremy to people, places, and crimes that haven't yet come to light. Her past connections could lead straight back to old enemies, or create brand new ones. If someone in Genoa City played a role in her death, intentional or not, Jeremy's grief could turn into a ruthless vendetta. And if Red isn't dead at all, then this storyline becomes even more explosive. Imagine Red hiding in plain sight, forced underground by Jeremy himself. Or worse, working with him. A faked death could allow her to move freely, spy, manipulate, and strike without anyone seeing her coming. Either scenario spells disaster for characters like Diane, Jack, Phyllis, and even Kyle, all of whom still carry scars from Jeremy's reign of terror. Diane Jenkins should be terrified. No one should be watching this storyline more closely than Diane Jenkins. Jeremy's obsession with her bordered on pathological, and if Red's death destabilizes him, Diane could once again become his fixation. If Jeremy truly loved Red and lost her, Diane could represent the past he never resolved, or the blame he needs to assign. Grief mixed with obsession is a dangerous cocktail, and Diane has already paid the price once. Fans are already speculating that Red's fate may be directly tied to Diane's past, possibly exposing secrets Diane thought were buried forever. Is this Jeremy's redemption, or his final descent? The biggest question looming over this storyline is whether YandR is setting up a redemption arc or a final descent into darkness for Jeremy Stark. A grieving Jeremy could soften, retreat, or disappear, haunted by loss and guilt. Or he could snap. Loss has a way of stripping away restraint, and if Red's death pushes Jeremy over the edge, Genoa City may face the most dangerous version of him yet, a man with nothing left to lose. One thing is certain, Red isn't done yet. Dead or alive, Red's presence will haunt this storyline. Her death is not an ending, it's a trigger. Secrets will surface. Motives will be questioned. And Jeremy Stark, once again, will stand at the center of chaos. Whether he's a grieving widower, a master manipulator, or something far more sinister, one truth remains crystal clear. When Jeremy Stark mourns, Genoa City should brace for impact. And if Red isn't really dead, then the most shocking reveal is still waiting in the spoilers. Victoria Newman defies Daddy, CEO seat at risk? YandR spoilers confirm that Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, is chasing Tucker McCall's, Trevor St. John, company for her own selfish reasons. It seems Vicky was frustrated that she didn't get to interfere in the Chancellor Winters IPO to snatch that corporation. Now, Young and the Restless spoilers know that Victor Newman, Eric Braden, also wants to acquire McCall Limited. But he has other plans in mind. And this week, he tells Victoria he wants his prodigal son in charge there. But Victoria has other irons in the fire. And it doesn't help that she's conspiring with naughty Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic. He encourages her worst impulses because he's a low-key villain himself on the CBS soap. Soon, Vicky goes to see Devin Hamilton, Brighton James, to try and find out if he plans to buy his dad Tucker's company. But that might have been a bad move because Devon's on high alert now. But it seems like Victoria will stop at nothing. Victor Newman wants Tucker's company for Adam on YandR. Young and the Restless spoilers remind that Victor wants McCall's company to hand it over to Adam Newman, Mark Grossman. The mustache is working overtime to get his youngest son back into the family fold. First, he conspired to sabotage him at Jabot. Second, Victor plans to give him a corporation of his own to run. Surprisingly, Adam's not even holding a grudge about that. Instead, he admitted to his dad that he was right and that he didn't belong at Jabot. Recall that Adam first asked Victor to kick Victoria out of the CEO seat and give it to him. But Victor said no to that. So he's also got Vicky's feelings in mind. Then, the black sheep Newman demanded that he have complete autonomy if he accepts the offer. So Victor went to Victoria Newman to tell her that once they have Tucker's corporation, he'll hand it over to Adam as a standalone venture, not under her CEO umbrella at Newman. But Victoria's plotting against her dad on Young and the Restless. Victoria ousted as CEO over defiant attitude to Victor on Young and Restless? Spoilers wonder if Vicky's bad attitude will get her busted by her dad. She's been ruthless since returning to the CEO position after her disastrous marriage to Ashland Locke, Robert Newman. And now Nate's enabling her endless ambition. So Victoria tells Nate that despite what her dad says, she'll nab McCall's company for herself and wants Nate to run it. He's all for more power, so he'll help make it happen. But will Vicky's defiance cost her everything? Victor Newman doesn't accept betrayal from his family. And if she thinks she'll get away with it, she may need to think again. While her dad appreciates Vicky's ruthlessness, it has limits. She can destroy whatever she wants, but not his goals on Young and the Restless. Will Adam get another shot at running Newman Enterprises if the McCall scheme fails? Is there a chance Victoria Newman's plotting blows up in her face? Newman has always believed one thing above all else. The Newman empire is his to control, and his children are merely caretakers until he decides otherwise. But on the Young and the Restless, that ironclad belief is about to be tested in a way Victor never saw coming. And it's coming straight from his most trusted heir. Victoria Newman is officially done playing it safe. And her bold move could cost her everything. For years, Victoria has been the responsible Newman. The one who followed orders, swallowed her pride, and cleaned up messes created by Victor's endless vendettas. She has sacrificed relationships, personal happiness, and even her own moral compass to protect Newman Enterprises. But recent spoilers suggest the balance has shifted, and Victoria is no longer willing to be Daddy's puppet. And Victor? He does not forgive disobedience. Victoria draws a line and crosses it. Behind closed doors, tensions between Victor and Victoria have been quietly boiling. Victor's obsession with revenge, power plays, and corporate domination has pushed Newman Enterprises into dangerous territory more than once. While Victoria once defended him fiercely, cracks have formed, especially as Victor's decisions grow more reckless. Spoilers tease that Victoria makes a major executive call without Victor's approval, and worse, she refuses to back down when confronted. This isn't a misunderstanding or a minor disagreement. This is a calculated act of defiance. For Victor, that's unforgivable. Sources hint that Victoria believes Newman Enterprises is bleeding credibility because of Victor's personal grudges, particularly when it comes to rivals like Billy Abbott and Chancellor Winters. Victoria wants stability. Victor wants domination. And when those goals collide, war is inevitable. Victor's control issues explode. Victor Newman has tolerated many things over the years: betrayal from Nick, rebellion from Adam, emotional distance from Abby. But Victoria's defiance hits differently. She isn't the wild card. She's the successor. The one he molded to think like him. Which is exactly why her independence feels like the ultimate betrayal. Spoilers suggest Victor begins quietly laying the groundwork to undermine Victoria's authority. Meetings happen without her. Decisions are questioned. Loyal executives suddenly seem less loyal. It's classic Victor. A chess game where he moves pieces while pretending everything is business as usual. But make no mistake, Victor is absolutely considering removing Victoria as CEO. The Adam factor looms large. And then there's Adam Newman. Whenever Victoria's position weakens, Adam's shadow grows longer. Victor has always viewed Adam as a dangerous but useful weapon. Unpredictable, ruthless, and willing to cross lines Victoria won't. Spoilers hint that Victor may start floating Adam's name behind the scenes, testing reactions from board members and investors. It's a move designed to rattle Victoria and remind her that her seat is never guaranteed. Adam, for his part, would love nothing more than to prove he deserves the empire. And if that means stepping over Victoria while Victor opens the door, he won't hesitate. Victoria knows this, and it makes her defiance even more dangerous. Nikki caught in the middle again. As always, Nikki Newman finds herself trapped between husband and daughter. She understands Victoria's frustration, perhaps more than anyone. Nikki has watched Victor's obsession with control destroy families, relationships, and lives. But Nikki also knows Victor's patterns. When Victor feels threatened, he doesn't negotiate. He retaliates. Spoilers suggest Nikki tries to broker peace, urging Victoria to soften her stance before things go too far. But Victoria isn't interested in another temporary truce. She wants real change. And for the first time, she's willing to risk her crown to get it. Billy Abbott, ally or liability? Adding fuel to the fire is Billy Abbott. Victoria's professional and personal history with Billy makes him Victor's favorite target. And spoilers hint that Billy may unknowingly become part of Victoria's downfall. Whether it's a strategic alliance, shared intel, or simple emotional support, any connection between Victoria and Billy gives Victor ammunition. Victor has never trusted Billy. And if he believes Victoria is aligning with him, even indirectly, it could be the final straw. In Victor's mind, business betrayal and personal betrayal are the same thing. Is Victoria ready to lose everything? The biggest question looming over Genoa City isn't whether Victor can remove Victoria as CEO. It's whether she's prepared for that reality. Spoilers suggest Victoria has observed how Victor's grip on power has cost him the loyalty of nearly every child he has. Nick walked away. Adam turned volatile. Abby chose her own path. Victoria was the last one standing. Until now. If Victor pushes too hard, he may finally lose the daughter who stayed. And if Victoria loses her CEO seat, she may gain something far more powerful, freedom from Victor Newman's control. A Newman civil war is brewing. All signs point to a full-scale Newman family civil war. One that won't be resolved with a handshake or a dramatic apology. This battle is about legacy, power, and whether Victoria Newman is truly her own woman, or just Victor's creation. Spoilers tease that the fallout will ripple far beyond Newman Enterprises, impacting alliances across Genoa City and forcing characters to choose sides. And once Victor makes his move, there may be no going back. One thing is certain, Victoria Newman didn't defy her father by accident. She knows the risks. She knows the cost. And she's willing to pay it, because sometimes the most dangerous move isn't grabbing power. It's finally letting go of the man who thinks he owns it.